It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tiger Talk. I'm Gerard Walbrock, and we'll chat with head football coach Chris Brown momentarily. Another rough one for Fort Hays State on Saturday, although they battled the number 10 team in the country to a 7-3 halftime deficit, 22 unanswered points in the second half by the Bearcats, and the defending national champions win 29-10 at Lewis Field. It drops the Tigers back to 500. They are 4-4 with 3 more games to go. The next game up is Saturday afternoon, a noon kickoff at Kearney against the rival Lopers from Nebraska. Kearney, who had a third quarter lead down in Pittsburgh Saturday, but eventually lost to Pittsburgh State. They have a 2-win season so far, 2-6, entering what should be a very interesting game Saturday afternoon at Cope Family Stadium and Foster Field in Kearney. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll chat about Saturday's loss to the defending national champions. Head coach Chris Brown joins us right here on Tiger Talk right after this. Hi, I'm Gerard Walbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, inviting you to join me for Tiger Talk. Airs Monday nights from 6 until 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103, and then the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We'll talk Fort Hays State football with head coach Chris Brown, preview the last game, and look ahead to the next week's action on Tiger Talk. Monday night, 6 till 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and on Eagle Cable Channel 14. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock, head football coach Chris Brown. The program brought to you once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. Ask about the many appetizers, including some of the new items, the barbecue nachos. They have the loaded barbecue fries. If you're studying late, out with friends, getting home late from the game, stop on by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, where the fire's always burning. As we mentioned, tough loss for the Tigers, 29-10, falling to the 10th ranked and defending national champion Northwest Missouri State Bearcats. And coach, it's kind of strange. It's the second closest margin of victory that Fort Hays has played a Northwest since joining the MIAA, but this maybe hurts more than any other of them, because it was just one of those games. Couldn't get anything going offensively. Defense, you felt, did enough to give you a chance to win the game, but just didn't happen on Saturday.
It didn't. And I talked to our kids, about these teams that we've been playing. We lost to Washburn, we lost to UCO, Mo West, and now Northwest. But it comes down to, at least we're competing this year. Years past, those games were blowout games. Washburn beat us 54-17. Mo West was kind of the same way, and then with Northwest. But we're putting ourselves in opportunities to win ball games, which is good right now. You can see the progress in the team, and we're getting better. And if we do put some points on the board, who knows what happens in these games? We might win all 4 of them, but we're not. And that's something we got to do a better job of, is get some points on the board, keep our defense off the field. And if we do those things, I feel like we could win these next 3 ball games.
And I guess that is what makes games like Saturday, games like Washburn, and you mentioned it, the ones you didn't win, even more frustrating, because there is progress and you're very, very close.
And that is, as a coaches and as a players, you're like, we got to win these ball games. And well, they got to understand that we're making progress. Things are getting better. I mean, we're competing, and we're close. We're real close, and I feel good about our kids, and they need to be disappointed. And it's this time in, my career as a coach here at Fort Hays State, that hey, we're making progress, we're getting close, and I don't know how much farther away from being a pretty good football team.
Offensively, and you kind of touched on it, struggled 3 points in the first half, but really the second half couldn't generate much. No first downs until that final possession, and had some good field position in the first half. Granted, they're going up against a really, really good defense, but just tough to generate much.
It is, and they do a lot of things defensively that that give you trouble. Play a lot of man coverage. We got to beat the man coverage. They bring a lot of twists and a lot of blitzes. They're strong on their defensive line, and every team you've watched, their O-line looks like they're on skates, and they're just strong and powerful, and they get to the quarterback and don't give them a lot of time. And when you do that as a defense, you're going to create havoc for an offense, and that's exactly what they did to us. Yeah,
it was 7-3 at halftime. The guys were really hanging in the football game, but that third quarter kind of was the difference in the game. You had the ball first, you go 3 and out, as we mentioned. No first downs until that final possession in which you scored. I think you had 8 total first downs, and half of them came on that drive. It just makes it difficult. The defense just ended up being out there too long, got worn down as the game went along.
They were, and you could see it. When we were chasing, the back or chasing receivers or even chasing the quarterback. We just couldn't get to him because we were just so tired. I think we had 82 plays defensively compared to our 40 on offense. But defense has got to do a better job themselves of getting themselves off the field and creating some turnovers and getting the ball back to our offense. And you can't allow long drives. And Northwest is very strong in the third quarter. When you look at the third quarter scoring, I think they were like 119 to 10. Over the course of the year. And we just need to do a better job of getting some 3-and-outs, and we didn't do that.
One thing we talked about on the program last week, big plays were going to be key. Have to be pretty pleased. You gave up 2 of them. One led to their first score, but did a pretty good job of tackling, not giving up the big plays. They had one late that really didn't factor in the ball game. In that aspect, I think there's been marked improvement. You've given up, up a few this year, but much better than it's been in years past.
It has, and Northwest is a team that's very disciplined. They're not going to force any. The quarterbacks aren't going to force anything. They're going to run the ball. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to keep you off balance. And they do a good job of getting first downs, gaining positive yards on first down, positive yards on second down. Now their third downs are manageable, and when you make them manageable, they're a lot easier to get, and that's just what they do well. They're coached well, their kids understand the game very well, and they play the game the way it's supposed to be and didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think we had maybe 1, possibly 2 turnovers in that game, and that's it.
How's everybody doing? It obviously gets frustrating when you're making that improvement, but yet you can't quite get over the hump. Everybody hanging in there all right?
They are, it's, as a coach, you got to be positive with them and kind of explain, the situation of where we started when I first got here to where we are now. We've made progress. We've gotten better. We put ourselves in situations to win ball games, and when we're so close, it's just finishing, playing for 4 quarters, and making the plays when we need to make the plays. I mean, we had a few drop passes still in certain situations, and a few missed blocks in certain situations as well. And defensively, maybe a few missed tackles that kind of hurt us in situations. But the progress is there, and the kids got to understand that they're getting better, and at least they're competing and giving themselves opportunity to win ball games. And when you see that, you're getting pretty close to being pretty good in this conference.
Tigers sit at 4-4 right now with 3 games to go, so indeed still an opportunity to finish this thing with a very good season. Tiger Talk presented once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. We'll take a break. Be back with more with head coach Chris Brown right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, where you can pick 2 choices for lunch for $7.99 and $8.99. Many items, many options. Pick and choose. Check out the great new menu items at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes. Joined by head football coach Chris Brown. Tigers falling 29-10 to number 10 and defending national champion Northwest Missouri State at home on Saturday. And we talked a little bit about it in the last segment. Let's talk about the offense a little bit. Just couldn't do much until that final drive, which was impressive. 13 plays, 96 yards, your best drive this year as far as plays and yardage consumed. But up until that point, it was just a tough go.
It was, they play a little bit, softer than they had in the past. They didn't bring as many blitzes and twists, and a little bit softer in their zone coverage as well. And they weren't manned up, which kind of helps our offense out a little bit too, seeing things. And Travion did a good job of not, if it wasn't there, just taking off and running. I think he gained more yards, in that series running the ball than he did all year, all game. And it was, that was a good drive. It was an impressive drive. That's I think something we can build off of and get better from. And understanding you didn't make a lot of mistakes that play. You didn't shoot yourselves in the foot with a penalty. You didn't have a bad snap. You saw things well, and if it wasn't there, you took off and ran. So we got to use that as a building block, for our offense to, hopefully carry on these next few weeks.
Probably one of the telltale signs. No red zone trips. I mean, you don't see that very often. You got the 1 touchdown, you got a field goal, got it near the 20, but never took the ball inside the Northwest 20-yard line.
No, he didn't, and that's their defense is pretty good. When they really feel the pressure, they step it up and make things happen and really get after the ball, and they pursue the ball well. And their linebackers are great, secondary is great, and their D line really puts the pressure on you. Once you get inside the 40, 30. So. It's hats off to them. I mean, they got a great defensive game plan and scheme, and the kids are coached very well, and they do good things. And it's hard for you to score in those situations, but we got to do a better job of. It seems like when we get to the 40, we stall, and we got to start eliminating that and finding a way to get inside the 20, 25, and then score some touchdowns.
Talk about their front four, and you kind of mentioned them. They are very, very good. They got 2 returning All-Conference and All-Americans. They really put pressure on Travion all day. 5 sacks. but it was even more than the sacks. I mean, it just felt like he was running for his life all afternoon.
It was, and when you get pressure on the quarterback and make him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, he's not going to sit in there. And that's why we try to do as a defensive line as well. Make the quarterback uncomfortable, make him run around, get out of his comfort zone, and that's what they did to Travion. By the time he dropped back and was trying to get his read, he had somebody in his face or somebody close, in his face. And if there wasn't, sometimes as a quarterback you feel it, just even though it's not there. And we got to do a better job protecting them and giving them some time in those situations.
3 and out is always key. And you look at an offense and points scored and all of that, yardage is big. Yeah. But sometimes it's the drives, even though you don't score, that still can help out your defense. And that was a problem Saturday. 6 3 and outs, another 2 and out, which resulted in a safety after a goal line stand. It kind of led to that defense being out there on the field. And I know that's what you're looking for, even if we're not scoring. Get some first downs, eat some clock, and let that defense get rested up.
Yeah, they need to rest. They need to get to rest, and it's a lot of our defensive guys are on our punt team as well. So because they're supposed to be good cover guys, and they're supposed to be able to tackle and all those things, and so you put them on all your special teams too. So we got to give them some rest. 6 plays, 8 plays, something, just to give them a little bit more rest than what they're doing right now. If we can do that, continue to run the clock down, and gives them some more rest, so when they are on the field, they're a little bit fresher.
This team has only scored once on their opening drive to start a game, and only once on the opening drive of a third quarter. Obviously, that's an area you'd like to improve on, and could really change the outlook of a ball game.
It is, and we always talk about starting fast. We got to start each half fast. So the first half, we need to come out and, if we don't score, at least drive and make things happen, and so we can have change field position. And then the same thing in the second half. We got to come out and score quick. So. Either if you don't score, we need to be able to get some first downs so we can change field position so we don't give, the offense a short field for our defense to defend.
Tigers fall to the Bearcats 29-10. We'll take another break. Be back with more on Tiger Talk, presented once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. We're back right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. They've got prime rib dinners, they've got pasta, ribs, meat combos, the 2 meat combos, steak and shrimp combo, steak and ribs combo for everybody at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire is always burning. Gerard Welbrock, head football coach Chris Brown, recapping Saturday's 29-10 loss to number 10 Northwest Missouri State. We talked about the offense last segment. Let's talk about the defense. And really, they wore down as the game went along, mainly because, as you talked about earlier in the program, 82 plays they were out there. But by and large, really did about all you could ask against a team the quality of Northwest Missouri State, of giving you guys a chance to hang around in this one.
They did. They did a great job of, kept them off balance. So we broke on the ball well. I felt we pursued to the ball well, made some great tackles, and our kids played hard. And that's something they do week in and week out. They play very, very hard, and then they never quit. They keep getting after it. Doesn't matter what the score is. And I'm proud of the way the defense played. We're still in our, in our program right now. We don't have a lot of depth. If we get some depth, now those kids aren't playing 80 snaps a game. They're probably playing, more 40, 50 now. And then they're staying fresher. And we're slowly building it. We're getting closer, to where we're in that point in our program. But right now we're just not there. And they're going to have to play, 80 snaps a game if they need be. And I told them, be prepared to play 100. It doesn't matter. You got to get yourselves in shape and take care of your bodies through the week.
Northwest scored on that opening drive, and boy, a little concerning because they made it look pretty easy. Had that big conversion for a 33-yard pass, got him inside the 5 and got the touchdown. But after that, you stop them on downs, you force 4 punts, and then you get an interception right before the half. I mean, that was a pretty good bounce back after that opening scoring drive.
It was, and it's just us figuring out what they're doing to us offensively. When you watch film, they give you so many different looks and so many different things that they do. Where in that first drive, we got an opportunity to see, exactly what they were doing to us, offensively, and our defense adjusted well. After that, like you said, getting the 3 and outs and the 4 punts, and a goal line stand as well, where we figured out what they were doing to us, and our kids learned and they got better and they figured it out, and hats off to those guys for playing so as hard as they did.
Third quarter, offense gets 3 and out to start it, and then just seemed like weren't able to get that big play defensively to get off the field, and it kind of led to them getting all that momentum in the second half.
It did. In that third quarter, they've really come out and done a good job. They changed their scheme up a little bit, so now you got to adjust again to what they're doing, offensively. And we just couldn't get ourselves off the field. A little bit tired. I think we already had 40-something plays by the half, and kids were worn out, but they were still focused and still pretty excited, and knew there was a chance for us to win this ball game. And they kept playing hard and figuring things out, and Northwest is a pretty good football team, and they're going to do some good things.
Is that the biggest challenge when you face the Bearcats? I mean, they have a lot, 8 or 10, 12 plays, whatever it is, but it seems like they've got 800 formations to do the same thing.
Yeah, it does. When you really look at them and break them down, they run the same. I mean, it's still a zone read. Quarterback's going to run the ball a little bit. They're going to have 3-man pass routes, but just the different looks give you so much trouble because you got to adjust to them. And I thought our kids did a pretty good job of adjusting to what they were doing to us. And just in that second half, just got worn down. But we got to figure out ways to do those things as well offensively, and keep guys off balance, and make sure our kids know what they're doing.
Nice to see Michael Jordan get his first interception this year. Had that great season a year ago, one of the top guys in the conference, and some of it is they're not throwing near him, but that was a great athletic play to end their final threat in the first half.
Yeah, and he's done a great job all year in pass coverage and getting to the ball, running to the ball, making a lot of tackles, during the game, and he plays physical, and he breaks on the ball well. He sees things well. He's a great leader out there. He gets guys lined up where they need to be lined up, and he does the same thing in practice. And it's just good to have a guy on the field like that. He's your quarterback, of the defense, and I'm just proud of the kid and what he's done for us these last few years.
I want to ask you about Brock Long, who's really emerged at inside linebacker. Had another great game Saturday, 13 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and for a junior college transfer coming in, he has just really come onto the scene, earned that inside linebacker starting position. He and Justin McPhail have really been a good duo back there.
They have. You had Schmidberger to that too, who's done a great job for us. And but Brock, he's taken ownership. He wants to be the leader of that defense, and he's done a great job of learning our system. It's hard to learn it in a year's time, but he's taken accountability and has been disciplined in the playbook and learning what we're doing, defensively to get himself to where he's at right now. And he's a great player. I mean, he's very physical and knows the game well, and he tackles very well. And he does a great job in pass coverage too. So I mean, he's an all-around linebacker that has played very, very well for us so far.
Just going to bring that tackling up. Very few times has someone slipped by him. He's been very, very good in that regard. We're going to take our final break of the program. We'll come back and talk about the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. They're up next this Saturday up in Kearney, and we'll do that right after this. Welcome back. It's our final segment on Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. We're telling you about some of the great menu items. Over 10 steak options to choose from. Sirloin, ribeyes, New York strips, even the porterhouse, and a whole lot more. Cooked the way you like it at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes. A big thank you once again to the gang at Whiskey Creek for sponsoring Tiger Talk again this season. We're joined by head football coach Chris Brown, our final segment of this week's program. And I guess it's rivalry week. It used to be in week 11. For some reason, the MIAA's moved it up to week number 9, I guess, whatever. But big rivalry, Nebraska Kearney. I first want to ask you, before we talk about the Lopers, it's a rivalry game, but I mean, you got players from everywhere. I know they've got a lot of players from everywhere. And I know you really emphasize Pittsburgh State, Emporia State, Washburn, the in-state schools. Kearney is the closest to Fort Hays. It's been a traditional rivalry. Do you talk about games like that, or do you approach this one like you did Saturday against Northwest and like you did Central Oklahoma in any other game?
I approach them all the same. I mean, a football game's a football game. I think the rivalry's for the fans and, all those things. But for us, it's just another football game. You got to prepare the same way. If you get too caught up in all the hoopla, then your team's not going to be ready, and you're going to do some things as a coach that you probably shouldn't do. So, I'm just going to treat it like another game and make sure that our game plans are solid for this game, and we do whatever we can to go win this ball game.
They're 2-6, got off to an 0-5 start, so they've obviously played much better, winning 2 out of 3, and lost a close one in Pittsburgh State Saturday. Obviously, a Kearney team that's playing much, much better.
They're a very, very good football team. I mean, when you look at a team's record in this conference, it doesn't mean much. You can't look into those things. They're 2-6, but they could be very easily 4-4 like we are, or 4 or 6-2. I mean, whatever it might be. But they're a good football team. Got a great quarterback that runs very well, very solid on defense and running the ball very well, and play some man coverage and some zone coverage that might give you a little bit of trouble. But when I look at their team, they're a team that's hungry. They want to win. I got a lot of new kids that are figuring things out pretty quick, and each week they've gotten better.
They were leading in the third quarter in Pittsburgh. They had won their 2 games prior. They doing anything different, or have you noticed in just your film preparation of anything different on their team in the last 3 weeks, say, than what you have seen in the first 5?
To me, it's just that they're really understanding what they're doing offensively and defensively now. They got a good scheme. The kids are feeling better about themselves. They're playing faster than what they've had the first few games, and you know, and defensively they're really getting to the ball and pursuing to the ball and creating some turnovers. And then, you know, offensively, you know, they figured out what's best for their quarterback and the scheme that's best for them, and that's what they're doing right now, and they're being very, very successful with it.
Yeah, they're up 21-13 in the third quarter in Pittsburgh. Gorillas end up scoring the final 23 to win it, but obviously never easy down at Carney Smith Stadium, and the Lopers hung right there with them. You mentioned their quarterback, Bronson Marsh, and it's been a position certainly since they've been in the MIAA. They've gone through player after player after player. They've had more tough luck.
Yep.
I think one year they played 5 different quarterbacks because of injury. Bronson Marsh has stayed relatively healthy, and I would think he's as dangerous as anybody because he runs it so well and has obviously demonstrated he can throw the ball.
He is. He's very, very dangerous. You know, I haven't seen, you know, watching on film right now, there's not very many one-on-one tackles that he just doesn't beat the guy. And, you know, as a coordinator and as a head coach, you know, you got to find a way to corral him and make the one-on-one tackles when you have the opportunity. But then you got to worry about his arm a little bit too, because he's great on play actions. He can get out and do some things with it. So, you know, we're going to have to do our best to keep him bottled up. You know, keep him in the pocket. You know, when it's a passing time, and then when he's run the ball, you know, we've got to make some one-on-one tackles and not miss.
He's a Nebraska transfer. He kind of reminds you of some of those traditional Nebraska Cornhusker quarterbacks.
Yes, he does, and he's dangerous, and we've got to do a good job this week.
Start of a key 3-game stretch with Kearney, Missouri Southern at home, then you close at Central Missouri. A chance to still do some good things. If you can win out, you'll have 7 wins, which would be the most since you've taken over as head coach. And while it's frustrating right now to be 4-4 when you feel you could be better, still a chance to finish this thing strong and achieve some really good things.
Well, it is. You know, we got a great opportunity still in front of us with these 3 games. I mean, every game to us, we feel like it is winnable, and you know, we just got to take care of business on our end. You know, doing the things that we need to do to win the ball game, whether it's offensively, defensively, or special teams. And you know, our kids got to understand that. And you know, still got a long season ahead of us. You know, I told our kids you can end it either at 4-7, 5-6, 6-5, 7-4. You know, find a way to win. You know, find a way to keep working, stay confident, and keep believing in yourselves, and good things will happen for you.
Coach, we appreciate the time.
Thank you, George.
Good luck this Saturday in Kearney.
Thanks.
That is head coach Chris Brown, Fort Hays State at Nebraska Kearney. It is a noon start, so you can hear it on Tiger Radio Mix 103, 11 o'clock with the Auto World pregame show. And of course, you can catch the rebroadcast of Tiger Talk on Eagle Cables, channel 14 and 614 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 and 7 o'clock in the evening. So if you miss any portion of the program, check out the video replay on Eagle Cables channel 14 and 614. Program brought to you once again by the fine folks of the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams, Brown, Barron and Ball, Couture for Men and Women, James Motor Company, BTI, and of course Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. For Coach Chris Brown, this is Gerard Walbrock. So long, everyone.
It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.